evening, everybody, and welcome to the third session of our lovely Vampire the Masquerade V5 Chronicle, La Terreur et la Vertu. I am delighted to be here tonight with our three lovely players to have the continuation of our delightful chronicle. Before we get into the session for tonight, I will have our three lovely players introduce themselves, starting with Adam.
Hi, my name's Adam. I will be playing Remy St. John, our Malkavian theater owner.
I'm Jack. I will be playing Madame de Comtesse Le Visage, the Nephilim Toreador.
Hi, I am Syrinx. I will be playing Mayalka Dieu, the gangrel of the pack.
Pack. Poignant choice of words there, given all of the things that are happening and some things that may well come to transpire in the coming nights as the revolution and whispers of counter-revolution come to the fore in Paris, make themselves known and fester beneath its opulent, virtuous, pure surface, or at least the surface that Maximilien Robespierre wishes to project onto the city and beyond. We begin in the beginning of a new night here in Paris. The three members of the group have gone their separate ways to where they make themselves home during the day, and they miss the political happenings throughout Paris during the day, the marches of patriotism, the songs sung in the streets by guardsmen and soldiers returning from the provinces, returning from the war with Austria, singing the praises of the new republic, the praises of the National Convention, the praises of the Committee of Public Safety, and the praises of Robespierre himself. It is a very strange environment, one, as I said, of pure, unadulterated patriotism, which, of course, is completely authentic and not at all forced, not at all made to be through the paranoia of the consequences of not expressing your patriotism in such a forward way. But at the beginning of this night, we head first to the Palais Royal in the center of Paris, a huge estate that seems to loom over much of the city center, quite close, really, to the Place de la Révolution, where the guillotine stands alone in the middle of the square, the point of execution of 1,000 people a day during Robespierre's reign here. But the Palais Royal is the one place in the center of Paris which remains untouched by all of this revolutionary conjecture. One place where people, if they have enough money to stay there, are safe from all of the things happening outside its walls. Lucretia, as you awaken, I'll get you to make a rouse check for me and describe the circumstances by which we find her as she awakens in her chambers within this remarkably opulent palais.
It's a success on the rouse check. Every early evening is the same for Lucretia. She wakes up in the same position with her head on her husband's chest. She rises up, she finds her nicest gown, she finds a new wig, equally as large from a time when it was fine to wear these things. She goes through and she puts all of her makeup on. She looks as beautiful as she possibly can. As Dominique also rises, she's kind of just gossiping as she does her own personal toilette in the room with him. She's just mulling over her night. So just it was quite a coincidence to run into my old pack. It was just meant to be a visit to the club and to see them all there. Monsieur Remy has not changed a great deal, but Mademoiselle Sophie is quite a different being now. I offered assistance because I thought that that is what I did here, what I do in this place, and she did not seem very accepting of it. So I fear I shall have to retract my assistance until she sees how helpful I am being and how I want to see what she fights for. Because right now, Robespierre is making us all think a great deal about ourselves, what we believe in. She kind of just does that kind of chit chat. She gets one of the probably either Dominique school or her own to inform her of what has happened during the day. Of which she responds with like, oh, and gasps and like, yes, for screw Austria.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, she has all of her sensations. She gets dressed up. But she knows for a fact that she does need to go back out. Before she does, she finds, I believe it's Juliette.
Julien.
Julien.
Mm-hmm.
She will find her and like whisper. No, she'll whisper into the ghoul who told her and just be like, you should go and tell Julien that there are rumors the sects may be working together, that the Sabbat and the Anarchs have been tittering amongst themselves. And she gets one ghoul to go and speak to Julien about that.
They listen and go, yes.
Another ghoul she whispers to about there's a security risk that you should tell who's the sheriff, the ex-sheriff?
Dorian Evariste is his name.
Evariste, yes. She gets Monsieur Evariste to be told of security risks of Jean-Baptiste and that the Anarchs or the Sabbat, who might be working together, who might even be working alongside Jean-Baptiste and the Camarilla for some cause. She gets these possibilities of this intermingling of beliefs and things going. When that is done,
I'll get you to make a manipulation etiquette roll for me.
ooh, okay. Manipulation etiquette. That is 1, 2, 3, 5 successes.
Great. Perfect. Yeah, these ghouls, listen to what you have to say, go off and tell the appropriate people, head to the back room where the other kindred, as part of the Camarilla, make their stays in the chambers of the Palais Royal. Not quite as ostentatious, perhaps, as your own, but still everything in this place is beautiful, including
She's
you.
probably trained them well so that they don't just walk straight up to Julien and say, this is the news. They talk to the other ghouls. They pique interest.
The market people, some of the ladies milling about outside. They have alibis, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. When that is done and she knows that word is sifting through the Palais Royal, she removes all of her makeup. She takes her wig off. She puts on a regular dress. She makes sure her pockets are on the outside. She stuffs them with fabric. She still looks stunning, but it is not how she wants to present. She gives probably Dominique a very long hug, a very long kiss, and then she will head out into wherever.
Before you head out,
yes,
Dominique will, as you're sort of preparing, he's writing on a piece of parchment. And as you sort of finish your dealings with the multiple ghouls of the Camarilla, he hands you this piece of parchment and says, I was thinking of holding a little soiree for us and our friends, especially if all of these rumors that you say are true. It may be prudent to realign ourselves with our allies somewhat.
My love, you fully know how to plan these things. The perfect timing. would I do without you, my love? And it's like an invite to Elysium, I imagine.
Yes. He's written out a sort of rough plan of the invitations of all of the remaining Camarilla kindred and opening it up to other sects as well, as per the very strict Elysium rules that the Camarilla enforces, with Dorian Everest, sort of being the high sort of security control there, as he always is, for the purposes of showing off or just basking in the opulence of the Camarilla. And you can tell that what he's trying to do is he's trying to comfort you, especially given all of the things that you've seen in the previous evening, and bring you back to a place where he knows you're comfortable, and so you can feel in control in your element, and he's catering for that through this suggestion, should say.
Yes. And because the two are very in love and very in tune, that action is immediately received by her. And she's just like, why, yes, we can put some more money into the flowers, perhaps. We can. She just starts like doing her planning. She seems very much at ease. Though she does double check whether particular members of the Sabbat have been invited, or whether it would just be a broad Sabbat invite.
There is the Sabbat, quote unquote, but he has written down the bottom that those who actively seek to destroy the haven that we have here will not be welcome.
Yes. Yeah. 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 She'll just play into that. Because she's gone from big dress down to smaller dress, it gives her a little bit more like there's a dourness to her in her room where she can be a little bit more expressive. And then she perks back up and she's like, yes, perhaps we can add some new dresses perhaps for the girls.
Yes, certainly. If we were to spend this much on new textiles for them and such, and have them done by the evening, we would still have plenty of money left over, so it is of no consequence.
Incredible. Yes, we shall do that. Ensure that our whatever cool French word for drugs is well kept and plenty around. Yes, courtiers, all of that.
Of course, there are plenty of lovely people who can provide such things, even in the palace walls, so it is of no issue. I will sort it all out and get Jean-Paul to do the rest.
Oh, Dominique, you are my love. You make my life bright, full of joy.
I hope that it will make you feel better.
Oh, my dear, of course. You make me feel better, always.
The least I can do.
She'll give him a kiss. And move through then?
Yeah, certainly. With that, you can sort of hear him, as you leave, start to click his fingers and get the attention of multiple servants and such to start creating these things that he's sort of budgeted in the sort of blink of an eye. And
she hides a blush. She's like, ooh, that's thing.
Look at him being all capable and all that stuff.
I love when you take charge.
With that, we will move to a very different set of circumstances in Mayel. Now, when you awaken, I will get you to make a rouse check as well. And what kind of environment do we find her in when she awakens? What does she do? What does everything look like?
I love that this is probably the second time that you explicitly took Lucretia before Mayel, and that's like
a total accident.
It's the perfect split screen to go from like opulent lady going around like, yes, the party should be held here, and then it's
didn't
like,
even think about it until
picking
like
up off the ground, just like
split moment.
What?
That aside, I did succeed on my rouse check.
Lovely.
So we are still at 2 hunger for tonight. Yeah, Maya wakes up in her small little common basement. There's not a lot there. She probably does have some sort of bed made up. Like she doesn't just fall asleep on the floor. If people were to accidentally come in here or something, it shouldn't look too suspicious. Although probably finding someone asleep on just a cold stone floor is not that suspicious in these times. But yeah, there's a pile of clothes in one end of the room. I think she probably doesn't clean them herself, but sometimes goes to like um ask one of the people with more amenities for such things to sometimes help her out because she doesn't walk around a stinking mess.
Yeah.
Right? She's a gangrel. She's not a beast, you know. But yeah, it is though probably almost all the same type of clothes. So she puts on like a white, just like dress-ish shirt, or like peasant shirt, and a pair of pants, and she I think she like wakes up and sits down still, and then tries to like roll back her shoulders a bit to try to uh roll off the things that happened last night.
Yeah.
Try to not really think about it too much. Just see what this night will bring. Trying to set good intentions for the day and seeing if they will come through.
Yeah, certainly. Give me a wits awareness roll, actually.
Damn, is someone in my house already, Beck?
Already.
Already. 4 successes.
Great. With 4 successes, you normally wake up to the hustle and bustle of the street life sort of above you. You can hear the sort of sounds of people moving about their evenings as you wake up, but tonight you wake up to the sound of yelling, of screaming, of the sounds of feet running, clomp, clomp, clomp against the ground, heavy-footed, and many more people than usually come about this area. You can tell from the amount of ambient noise and shouting and what even sounds a little bit like chanting to you. You're not quite sure.
I don't need to be sure. I will rush upstairs and out onto the street to see what's happening.
Yeah. So as you come out onto the street, there are probably about 40 or 50 people. About 7/8 of them are men. There is a sort of a small kind of chapel. I wouldn't even go so far as to call it a church. It was probably just a place where 1 or 2 monks used to live before the revolution. But in any case, it has sort of Christian paraphernalia sort of decorating the building above it and within it as well. And these men are storming into this chapel, and you can hear the sounds of ceramic things crashing to the ground and sort of wooden things being kicked over and crashing and banging, and a lot of sort of echoing footsteps from this drafty room indoors sort of coming through the street that you can hear. You can even see some sort of dust from broken pieces of ceramic kind of pushing through the door out onto the street, and they sort of run in and run out and guard the street and run in and run out again. And after a while, they sort of somebody sort of runs down the street, and a couple of minutes later they come back and they've got like a ladder with them. They climb up above the door, take the cross that's hanging above the door face, rip it off, and then start putting this banner up above the door of the chapel, which advertises the cult of the Supreme Being. And when you notice this, you start to hear what they're saying. And I'm going to get you to make a wits politics roll for me.
Tell me all the details. I got 5 success.
Ooh.
Get another roll.
Yeah, great. They are chanting the words to Robespierre's speech at the Festival of the Supreme Being. It sounds like chitter-chatter sort of to you when you're not listening properly, but you kind of hone your senses in a little bit on a group of them. And as they are sort of going about doing their own things, not necessarily looking at one another, you notice that 4 or 5 of them are actually speaking the words of the speech in sync. And then you notice that another 4 or 5 of them in a different section are speaking the words in sync, but from a different section of the speech. And if you sort of hone in on these different people, they kind of speak the entire speech, different sections of it. So they're kind of, almost singing it, but different parts at the same time. And once they finish, they start it again at different times and speak it and such. Very, very strange.
If I'm watching there for a moment, could I see if their movements seem... I have a feeling that these people are somehow manipulated into doing this whole thing.
With the 4 successes on your wits awareness roll, the one that you got at the beginning, I'll say that when you notice the way that they're speaking, and then you notice the way that they're moving, it's a little bit too uniform, a little bit too robotic, a little bit too ordered, too pointed, too deliberate to be entirely natural, or at least what you normally see from people.
Then I think Mael is going to stick around the area and make sure that no other people who aren't involved in this business get too close. So if people were to get near to that area, she would kind of say, like, there's some rallying going on there. You might want to avoid it.
Great. In that case, I'm going to get you to make a really weird roll. I'm going to get you to make stamina plus persuasion for me.
What?
Stamina to hold your ground against all of these people running around wildly, and persuasion to get people to walk the other way and not take any notice. A roll, I believe you are incidentally rather good at.
I am quite good at it. I rolled 5 successes, not the most I could roll, but
that's okay, still good. With 5, roll a general dice pool, but
we'll see. Like, the moment we meet the Sabbat, we will all be making bestial failures.
Yeah, no, you managed to quite easily. As all of this is going on, sort of just subtly by standing sort of in the way of people when they approach, is just to sort of egg them on the other way and make sure they don't get hurt, and make sure that they don't get caught up in this strange cultish kind of situation that's going on here. And eventually, once they finish putting up the banner, and once the crashing of religious artifacts and such stops from within the chapel, all of these men sort of file out in this uniform, kind of forced way, and start, chanting in this sort of strange, disjointed way that they have been throughout this entire thing, and kind of go off down the street in groups of 2, almost like they're in a sort of army formation of some kind, but they're just working guildsmen wearing sans-culotte clothes. They're not dressed as army men in any way, shape, or form. They don't carry weapons of any kind. They're just men. And a few women as well, but all working people.
Right. as they sort of leave, I'll take advantage of the silent moment there where there are no people nearby because I sent them all away.
Mm.
And I will try to climb up and take off the banner at least.
Yeah, certainly. They've actually left the ladder there. Once their job has been done, they just dispersed as though it doesn't matter. So no check required. You can easily climb the ladder and rip it off. How do you go about doing this? Are you just doing it out in the open? Do you try to do it stealthily?
I try to do it quickly, because I don't necessarily want anyone to see me doing this. So I'm trying to do it now, know that perhaps no one is near.
Great. Dexterity stealth for me.
Another good roll.
Yeah, I know. I'm sort of playing to your strengths, actually.
It's like I'm doing things I'm good at.
Yeah.
Coincidence? I think not.
Someone's watching.
Surely not.
Surely not.
How many successes?
3.
3. Lovely. As far as you're concerned, nobody's around. As these guys leave, because you've dispersed everybody.
Don't you love it when the storyteller says,
as far as you're
you
concerned. You don't see anyone. You manage to do it as the street has this sort of quiet moment. Rip it off and sort of, do you just sort of chuck it through the door or do you take it with you? What do you do with this banner?
If I remember correctly, there was a kind of river running close to where we are right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'll just rip it off and then kind of keep it crumpled up, and as I pass by the river, I'll just like nonchalantly toss it in.
Yeah, certainly. Perfect. As you head out and towards the River Seine, where you disperse of this disgusting paraphernalia, this representation of the fanaticism that's taken a hold of the city in the past month, even in the past year, 2 years, increasingly so. We will shift then to Remy. Remy, when you awaken in Le Bon Diable, or the Oubliette, more specifically, underneath, in the place where you make your day sleep, when you awaken, how do you awaken? In what environment, in what way do you do anything to begin the night? Make a rouse check for me also.
I will do that. Although Remy might have some business to take care of before waking, if that's
yes,
for us.
Of course.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I can make that rouse check for later reference. That is a fail.
Ooh, there's always one.
It'll be up to 2 hunger upon waking.
Mm-hmm. Lovely. But for now, you are just on 1.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Remy was hoping to use River of Dreams while day sleeping to try to get in touch with Sebastian, the missing member of his pack.
Awesome. I will get you to make a rouse check for this specific use of River of Dreams for me.
Mm-hmm. Another fail. So he'll be at 3 hunger upon waking.
The direness of the situation, the close call with Georges Couthon the previous night has set your beast on edge somewhat, potentially. And while you're in day sleep, you're usually very, I guess, aware of your dreams when they occur and are ready and quick to document them upon your awakening. You wish to, I'm assuming, invite Monsieur Sebastian into your dream consciousness while he too is day sleeping. Mm-hmm. Perfect. In this sort of lucid dream, I'll say, you find yourself in a strange kind of just open field landscape, one you may have seen in previous dreams of which you've been a part before. And a river runs through the center, essentially chopping it in half. As you approach it, there is a kind of windmill that you see in the distance as you walk up towards it. The windmill is broken, cracked, not spinning. The building itself is sort of crumbling. The stones fallen to the ground. Only half of it kind of remains. The skeleton of a windmill, I would say more specifically. And as you approach the river, you notice that a few strange things about it, really. The first is that the water, so to speak, is dark red, as though it's not water at all, but something else entirely. Something enticing to you, especially in the agitation caused by your beast. But the even stranger thing, potentially, is that the water is still as though somebody has paused time, at least momentarily. It looks as though the water, textured as it is in the process of flowing, but it doesn't move. And as you contemplate this strange phenomenon, this strange timelessness of where you find yourself, echoes of the past, echoes of some strange still present and what the future should bring, you hear footsteps approach from the opposite end of this clearing, coming towards you, towards the windmill. These sort of large, hulking, strong form of Sebastian, who was a tradesperson in life and is quite capable physically as a Cainite. And you haven't seen him in a number of nights. It's almost relieving, yet in this strange in-between state. The not quite reality of the situation you feel at once in your element here, but also it is at the same time removed from the Sebastian you know. He approaches you and sits down on the grass, his legs dangling just above the river of blood that doesn't seem to be flowing. He looks up at you, his eyes dark and solemn, and says, "We haven't met like this in quite some time."
Usually, my dear Sebastian, you are not so difficult to find.
Things have taken a turn for the worse, I admit. The way things are.
We are a pack, Sebastian. Are we not?
We are, I know it. I'm feeling my distance from you.
Then why don't we shoulder this latest development together? Where have you been?
I was being followed. Don't know by who. Are you sure you want me to tell you?
You must understand by now, Sebastian. My favorite kind of knowledge is the kind I am not meant to have.
I know. Just feel compelled to care for your safety, but I know there's no stopping you. I followed this thing. I thought that if it was following me, I could try and catch it before it did me. It led me to this building, nowhere, middle of the city, a place like any other, just a shop, a bakery of some kind.
I beg your pardon. A bakery?
Yeah, a bakery.
Not too far removed from the Palais Royal, by chance?
No, quite close to the Palais Royal, actually.
Forgive
It
the
would have been in the
interruption,
same district. Now that I think about it, there's so many of them. It was just like any other.
What did you find there?
Nothing. It's like it had been abandoned for the past however long. Dusty, dark, just... The next thing I knew, I was in torpor, just like that. Woke up in a prison cell. Been here ever since.
Sebastian, I am terribly sorry to hear this. Do you know anything about your surroundings? Is there anything that looks or smells or sounds familiar?
I know that I'm in the conciergerie. The place we stormed during the September massacres. Same building.
Yes, of course. Has anyone spoken to you?
No. I can't even see anyone else. A room of my own, an iron door in front of me. Darkness. Can't even fucking see in the dark.
Have you been fed?
No. Trust me, I am not this calm. If you were to speak to me otherwise.
Yes, of course. This provocation, for that is what it is, will be addressed.
Just be careful. You know who runs this prison now. Just be careful. I'm afraid that my snooping around into whoever was following me may have prompted my arrest.
You are unfortunate, but you did not make the wrong choice. I only wish that I had known sooner. I understand that you confided some of this in Eleanor. In future, we will take such instincts with the gravity that they deserve. Know this, we will remove you from that place.
Just be careful.
I will.
Good.
Have you had conversations with anyone new or unexpected before you realized you were being followed as of late?
Conversations...
Have you been approached by anyone, mortal, ghoul, kindred alike?
I've been approached by people, sure. Many people expounding on the greatness of Maximilian. Many people...
Yes, of course. But nothing remarkable. Nothing strange.
A few people expressing their distaste in public, but that is becoming more and more common. Well as they hide it, it is definitely there. It may well be that my unintentional involvement in one of these conversations has led to my being here as well. I do not know.
Well then, this is a misunderstanding that we will rectify. By what means we must. Thank you for coming, and I am sorry that you must suffer for whatever cause it is that has brought you here.
As you said, a misunderstanding. Nothing more, I'm sure. Just the paranoia of the day, I suppose. But as it does with so many, it may well lead to my head.
You may have more yet to suffer. Take courage in this. Our past pains can give us strength, but any you do not wish to hold on to, I may relieve you of.
Yes, you have that talent. Thank you, Remy. odd as this is, I'm still very much a stranger to it. It is a large comfort, especially in the confines of this dark, hungry nothing.
There is no darkness deep enough to hold you forever, and no hunger powerful enough to grind you to dust. While you are there, remember my voice. It is something to hear, at least.
Sound like Georges Danton. I
This
will.
is a lesson I learned far before ever making his acquaintance.
I don't doubt it, Remy. But thank you, I will. You do have a knack for anchoring not only me, but Eleanor as well.
The privilege is mine. Now, I have to see about preparations for relieving you of your servitude. You were not born to be confined, and you were not reborn to be so insulted.
Indeed. Well, I wish you the best of luck, and I trust you'll be careful, as I said.
I'll be sure to be only as careless as I must be.
Fills me with so much confidence.
Good. Feast on that, at least.
It is something.
So it is.
He turns, a solemn, melancholic look in his eyes that shields the kind of raging hunger of his consciousness that you can see now, and slowly walks away from you once again, the way in which he came, until his silhouette disappears amongst the sort of hazy darkness of the horizon of this strange dreamscape of yours.
Okay. Now, am I correct that the dungeon he spoke of is being controlled by Robespierre?
You are correct in assuming
okay.
so.
Yeah. All right. Well, things have just accelerated then. I would like, if I'm able, I also noticed for a River of Dreams,
Yes.
maybe this will matter later. It says that I do need a rouse check if I try it during the day on someone.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is confusing to me. This was during the day. That's what day sleep is. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that, never mind that. I've answered that question.
Great.
The second thing is I want to, if possible, if I can call Lucretia and or Mael in as well, does that going to require
another
additional
rouse
rouse checks?
Sure
okay.
is.
In that case, I might. I was gonna say I might hold off, but I also might be able to feed as soon as I wake up.
You are in your own domain, so
Yeah,
it will be easy enough for you to do so.
Okay.
In your own domain, as far as you know.
Look. No space is truly yours. I guess. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a go. I'm going to. I don't know if it's possible. Would you rule that it's possible for me to call them both at once, or do I need to see them consecutively?
2 separate rouse checks, one for each person, one for each individual in this case. So
Sure.
if you like, you can make 2 and then speak collectively to both of them.
Yeah, I'd just like to talk to them both at once to avoid repeating. I'll make the 2 rouse checks for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or as a normal person, you could just
this dice is banished. That's another failure.
In real life.
We don't know where to find you. I was like, I'll send a go. I have no
Wait
idea
around
where
for
she
the
lives.
telephone to be invented.
Yeah. This is the telephone. It's expensive.
The blood telephone.
That is 4 consecutive
failures.
That is, well, I think 3. Have I rolled 3 this night? So yeah, I'm gonna be waking up at hunger 4.
4, lovely.
Yeah.
Could be worse.
Not a very restful day sleep.
No, quite the opposite.
I'm gonna have a bit of a midnight snack upon waking, and I'm not gonna be polite about it. Okay. So yeah, I'd like to summon them both
Yeah.
to stagnate. Also, is the river's utter frozenness in time, is that all normal for this
Yeah.
situation, or is any of this
Every
remarkable?
time
I
you
just wanted to
use
make sure.
this during the
Super
day.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to make sure I shouldn't be extra alarmed by
No,
that
no, no,
situation.
no, no, no. This is just the aesthetics of the power. It's actually written in the description
Yeah,
of
yeah.
it.
Just wanted to be sure because we've
Yeah.
seen some dream tampering lately. I just
Oh,
wanna
so
just wanna
much.
Yeah.
be across
Yeah.
it. Just wanna be across it. Good, good,
Mm-hmm.
good.
A
The
lot of Dominate
stagnant
being
blood
thrown
river
out.
is you're like, I see this every single day.
This is my
Beachfront
stagnant blood
property.
river. Yeah.
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 So yeah, Mael and Lucretia, you may have even seen this image before. This ruined windmill, this blood river that is stagnant, as though paused in time, as you together approach Remy, who's sort of standing
Much
there.
control do we have of how we present in this dreamscape?
Well, I'll say that you probably present yourself as an idealized version, or at least
Okay.
in in a subconscious version of how you perceive yourself if you're looking at yourself from below or above or whatever. Yeah.
In that case, because they've done this before, this form is also not a surprise to him. But she's just angelic in every sense, like a huge gown that's like way too large. Like she dominates a portion of the field in just a white dress
Mm.
that seems to be made entirely of feathers that comes like up very tightly around and shows off her bosom.
Mm-hmm.
But she's got these enormous white feathered wings behind her, six of them. Um, and she stands there with this large wig that seems to have this like gold halo interwoven into it.
Mm-hmm.
And she, as she always does when she's here, takes a single step forward that doesn't make a lot of sense in a dress this large and props her hands down. There's been some time since I have been here. Oh.
Welcome.
To contrast that, yet again, Mael kind of looks the same, except for the fact that her hands are perpetual claws that she kind of keeps hidden a bit from sight.
Remy, on the other hand, looks very different. He normally does. He would be wearing a what would now be considered a very old-fashioned doublet and trousers with socks pulled up high and black shoes. Not fine clothing by any means. Um, certainly very out of place, both in Paris and in this time. But I would look at both of you and say, I have conversed with my packmate. He is being held under the watchful care of Monsieur Robespierre.
Oh,
He is
good
imprisoned.
stuff.
He's making moves.
Yes, which means, of course, that I believe our side of the board, or perhaps even our sides of this many-dimensional board, well, now I suppose we must move as well.
To have him move against his own sect. Hmm.
When we spoke with our new friend, I was unsure of whom she must have been representing. I am more confident now that she either is or is under the control of someone of the Sabbat.
Huh?
I cannot confirm this, of course. But it does mean that things are going to be exceedingly difficult for me, and I think therefore for us, until Sebastian can be returned, or at least the terms of his imprisonment can be adequately explained.
Of course. I mean, you asked Sabat, you can simply ask. Can you
Yes,
not?
yes, I intend to. The problem is that I believe that this is an instance of the right hand not knowing what the left hand is doing, so to speak. Or at the
Mhm.
very least, there is some lip service being paid to send an investigation to my home to determine the cause of this. Now, it will be explained to me in due time. However, we also have business with the Sabbat for our own causes. So I propose that we meet again tonight, if the two of you are able. I have some small affairs to contend with here at home, but then I am at liberty.
It
Do you know
seems
where he's being kept?
Yes.
Do you think it's possible to sneak in whilst you're doing business?
For you, such things are always possible. However, I don't think it is very meet to Madame Lucretia's station or position to go dancing about near that particular institution.
I can serve as quite a good distraction if needed.
This is true.
My question to you, more a warning. Josh Coton came to your place of business.
Hmm.
Maximilian took your packmate. I believe it is time you perhaps look at Lorraine, Eleanor, whatever her name was, perhaps look into her safety next, so that you do not have your entire back exposed.
Yes, I shall be taking particular care for Eleanor's safety. However, there is more, and Mael, I should like to know your thoughts on this particular detail. Sebastian was taken at a very specific location. He was being followed and found himself in a bakery near the Palais Royal, a bakery that all three of us, I believe, are familiar with.
Oh my.
Now, I do not know for sure if we owe any part of this to the Corday family or their associates, but I think that it is becoming increasingly clear that they are at least implicated. I wonder if you have any information about that particular establishment or its former occupants.
Mael, you would know that the bakery in which you found Lena, the tabula rasa child of Aaron de Galbert, when you were still working as a pack together, was used by the Cordays as a kind of headquarters. But after the revolution, especially after they lost control of the revolution, its proximity to the Tuileries Palace, the Place de la Révolution, the proximity to Robespierre in general, how close it was to his base of operations, it became unusable for them. So they just packed up and left and went a little bit closer to the river, where they are now.
Why would any sensible anarch want to stay as close to both the Sabbat and the Camarilla?
Aren't you a sensible anarch?
I'm not saying there.
You're here now. But if they are not,
This is not the bakery. This is the dream which you. Were you always able to do this during all the years that we were separate.
It is a talent I have possessed for some time.
I don't mean that. I mean, were you able to call us, the both of us, in here all this time, even though we were separate?
Why do you
Yes.
think we are here now, eh?
Yes, I have always been able to. I think, to answer the question you have not yet asked, I have not done so because I wanted to honor your choice to leave. And you always have the chance to refuse the invitation henceforth, if you wish. I'm glad you accepted today.
Consider that my unasked question answered.
Now, Lucretia, I believe that your instincts were leading you towards the museum as a place worthy of investigating as well.
Yes, that is correct.
I know that in the interest of furthering our plan, following through on that visit and what it entails is probably wise.
Mhm.
I just know that I'm going to be distracted.
Yes, of course. What can you do to reduce this distraction?
I need to speak on behalf of my packmate. I need to go to this prison.
Ah,
If you're gonna do that, you might as well put a target on your back right now. I mean,
If I
they're
don't
already
do that,
after you.
if I do not do that as his priest and packmate, how will that look?
yes, and you are very good when you are bonded by blood. So of course you would find him quickly. It fits a narrative, yes?
Yes,
Be ready for them to say no.
Oh, and I'm sure that you'll be able to talk yourself out of it and seem the ever loyal Sabbat member. So, who are we to stop you?
I don't wish you to stop me, only wish to let you know of what might delay my participation this evening. Perhaps it can be sorted out quickly. Perhaps it truly is a misunderstanding, but I think we have learned by now that these sorts of direct actions are hardly ever coincidences.
Hmm, indeed. I'm interested to see whether you will end up in there. Are you willing to take that risk?
It's his
I'm
packmate.
yes.
Wouldn't you have wanted him to do the same for you back in those
We
days?
were his packmates too. Hmm?
Yes.
As I said, wouldn't you have wanted him to do the same for you if you were in that situation, Lucretia?
Yes, but I am not in that situation. I'm in this one, and I need him now. So I need to
Can
know, is it worth the risk?
if either of you assist me in this, I know that it is a great risk to yourself. It will also lower the risk to myself because of your great powers. I also know that you are well within your rights to be shut of this situation. Now, Mael, if you are willing to help, I would be in your debt.
Are you asking for my assistance, Remy?
Yes.
Then I shall give it.
Thank you.
The fact I leave the Palais Royal at all is a death sentence. Does not matter if I stand in a prison, does not Matter if I stand with my head in the guillotine. Everywhere I go is a death risk. If I can help you all out there, so be it.
Thank you.
I want to meet this Sebastian, see what it's all about. He sounds small.
I can assure you. In proportion, he is not.
Oh, a big boy. Okay.
Careful. You may even like him.
I always like the people around me.
Too true. Then we have nothing left for it but to agree upon a place to meet.
Where is the prison? Is there a location where we can meet up
Yeah.
near there that's not super public?
The Seine sort of splits in the middle of Paris, and there is a small island in between.
Alcatraz.
Yeah, well, sort of. The prison is there. It is also the island on which the Notre Dame is as well. It is quite open. There isn't many sort of low-key places to kind of loiter around in terms of back alleys and such. It's open. The Notre Dame and the Conciergerie, which is a sort of old medieval fortress, which they've turned into a prison, are pretty much the only two buildings there.
Because the visiting the Notre Dame is people are allowed to do that, right?
It's a church. Of reason these nights, but
Church of Reason. Perfect. We can meet outside the Church of Reason. Because we love the Church of Reason when we are asked by the public. Perhaps we meet at the Notre Dame. It is close enough. Gives us a good front and an alibi that we were at the Church of Reason.
Yes. I am not a frequent visitor, but my presence there would not be strange. It is more for your safety that I think we must be wary. Maëlle,
Yes.
of course, can be seen when she wishes to.
I am quite a sight for eyes to turn upon.
Very well. But I should ask, since I have not yet put it to words, Maëlle, are you still willing to assist me with this?
Allow me to make the nuance that I provided to assist in helping find him. That's quite a different thing from literally walking into the squad again.
Yes.
I'll go to the Notre Dame. But I can't guarantee that I'm gonna come inside with you. There's a difference still between just walking around the city unseen and actually going into their havens. So I do have some things to lose here.
Yes, of course. And I would not ask you to go beyond what you believe is feasible for yourself. That is no longer my authority, after all.
Indeed, it is not.
We are merely there to reduce your risk.
I suspect we will all learn a few things as well.
We may even see Monsieur Maximilian.
If we are so blessed.
Let's hope not.
Yes, let's. Well, do either of you have any business you wish to discuss?
I was gonna say, can we choose to break the connection?
You just log out.
Yeah, you can
Mhm.
you can accept the invitation, and I suppose you can leave whenever you like.
Log out.
Yep. You
Yeah.
can log off, yeah.
The Zoom call. All right, bye, guys. Bye. See you next.
If you fall hard enough into the river, it'll jar you to the next level.
Oh,
of
God.
You'll clip through, and then
You
you get the
just
final
dive into the
cutscene.
river.
The layers of hell start to emerge slowly but surely.
All right, with that question, that question answered. Yeah.
Both, really.
I knew what you meant.
You got the words.
Details.
Just rearrange them.
I think she'll say, see you at Notre Dame then. And then
Right.
log off.
Lucretia will stay. She kind of like runs her hands down the side of the like corset she's wearing. She touches the feathers. I have missed this a great deal. Sure. Now, show me one of your nice dreams. Give me something.
I have a recent one that you might find
I'm
interesting.
okay with vintage, but something that I would enjoy. For sure.
In that case, well, what I would like to do is treat Lucretia to a memory or a dream that Remy found in the early days of the blossoming of theaters, new theaters from just a few years back. Remy went on a kind of feeding frenzy at that time of new artists and performers, musicians, people who were kind of flooding into the central district of Paris to finally be able to get playtime. And I think he'll choose a dream of a young woman who was going to play a marquee role in a performance that would have been outlawed up until that day, like a true like proto bohemian type who was like pushing boundaries, breaking rules, and just like reveling in this like scandalous attention of people who are now finally able to see like this kind of content on stage.
Real life Don Quixote.
Oh yeah. Like we're talking like this is like a dream that this person had about what their time in Paris should be. Now that this was not their memory of how it actually went, but like
the dream of it.
Yeah, the dream.
I think Remy likes first experiences, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's an exchange as you hand him this. She will likely gift you with probably someone's like actual physical first time. And she witnessed it, the pleasure and the revelry of it all and sensations that people haven't felt before. And kind of just that kind of gift of a first time because she's like, here you go.
Yeah, if that's able to happen, Remy will be stoked.
Yeah. And when that happens, she, before leaving, she keeps taking in her dress. Like there's a kind of the barrier between them as if they're in the same pack again is just she's her old self. She hats down the dress. She feels her wig and stuff, but she says, I'm so glad that you have not changed a bit. And then she will leave.
And with that, Remy dictates the moment when you awaken to even more hunger. It probably feels as though you've been sleeping for perhaps a minute or two. To save time, I'm going to get you to make a quick feeding roll just before we go on break. Okay. So you have access to a lot of blood here, but you spike the drinks in the oubliette with drugs to bring out discrease in your subjects. Now, because you are in your domain, it's very easy for you to obtain blood. So the roll isn't going to be dictating how much hunger you can slake. You can slake it down to 1 if you don't want to kill anyone, that is.
Yeah.
But I will get you to roll I think it'll be an intelligence plus Investigation feels mundane.
Mhm.
I'm tempted to say science, but that might be a bit too
What's
obscure.
the actual feeding roll?
For the Sabat ones, I don't know if they have feeding roles per se.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if it
Yeah.
recommends a specific one.
Sus.
I guess my question is what do I do physically, you know?
Yeah. How do you go
like-
about it?
I think Remy would, because when people take opium, they become really lethargic and kind of lie down on these couches that are arranged around the oubliette and just look up at the ceiling and the tapestries and stuff,
Yeah.
smelling the incense and everything that's going in there. It would really just be a matter of like finding a person who's in this kind of semi-conscious state, and just sort of like feeling their wrists, seeing like if he really is being careful and interested, I think he would be looking for people who are dreaming and want to participate in all that. This is more of a like it's got to be now. Like
Yeah.
I have to eat. I have to eat now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he would just find someone who's sort of sequestered behind any of these wall hangings or partitions,
Great.
and just find someone who wouldn't stop him. And just go for it.
Cool. In that case, it's going to be resolve, for your self-control and investigation. And I'm going to get you to make a hunger frenzy check as well if you're on hunger 4.
Yes.
Mhm.
Luckily, I think my opium lets me lower that difficulty by
Yes,
one dice.
it does. So you're at hunger 4. I'm only looking for one success for you.
Okay, so I'm at hunger 4.
Might I feed as well?
Of course, of course.
So I think I'm literally just rolling hunger dice right now.
Yep.
Ooh. Ooh.
Don't get a messy critical.
Just you wait. Just you wait. Oh, so close. So close. It's 3 successes.
Okay.
What could have been a bestial failure if that were a fail.
You pass the frenzy check. You can slake your hunger down to 1, but with just 3 successes in your state very much on the edge, you don't delve into the experiences, the sensations of one person enough to draw out their own experiences and sensations. So you don't quite get that depth that you need to obtain the Discreus that you're after this time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
We're eating for fuel today.
Yeah, that's right.
And I got 4 successes.
Okay. How does Lucretia feed?
It's usually amongst I think this night's different. Normally she usually goes around, and as everybody is getting debaucherous and having all of those things, she kind of slips in between them, and with mouths intertwined usually gets enough
Great.
from them all. But because she was more like gossiping and organizing with Dominique, I think the ghouls that came in, as she's whispering to them, she and takes just a little bit, and then lets them have the. It's called the kiss, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They get that high of like,
Yeah.
you're doing a good thing, and then does it to the other one.
Okay.
Because they only need 2.
Yeah, great. You can take 1 point from each.
Perfect. Thank you.
In that case, as the 3 of you make your respective journeys to the river, Maëlle is probably the closest to the Notre Dame, sort of ironically. To the Notre
Having a
Dame.
banner of the supreme being and then
Chucking
walking
it
towards the Church of Reason.
It's the best thing I've ever heard. But yes, as you all 3 converge on the island where the Notre Dame looms ashore as this kind of opulent building as we all know it as. But then, on the other hand, there is this sort of more grotesque kind of imposing Gothic building, the figure of the conciergerie with its multiple turreted towers and things, very much still looking like a medieval fortress. As you all meet up with each other. We will take this opportunity to have a brief break so we can refuel and such. So yes, thank you everybody for sticking around with us so far. It's been a great start to the session. Very, very spicy. I am eager to see through a prison break potential. I don't know. When we return. But thank you everybody so much, and we'll be back soon. Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much for sticking around. And we'll just hop right back into the action. All three of you converge sort of around one side of the Cathedral de Notre Dame, a little ways away from this, as I said, looming medieval Gothic building of the Conciergerie, the prison, the main prison that has been used by the National Convention, the revolutionary government, to hold enemies of the revolution while they're awaiting their sort of mock trials before they're sent off to the guillotine. They're not usually kept here for very long. The way that they cycle through prisoners is very, very rapid. And these prisons, as far as you know, as far as the papers have sort of let you know about them, is that they are bulging with prisoners. More and more flock in every day, and they try to get rid of as many as they can, but they just keep coming. In any case, you find each other here looking, in some cases, very different to the subconscious versions of each other you met in Remy's dreamscape. In other cases, quite similar, actually. In any case, you see each other here. Are there any words exchanged between you upon your arrival?
Bonjour. It would. She definitely. She's not really hiding, and she's not in her usual gown, so she just comes straight up to Remy. And is Mael visible?
She is, just for the fact that I don't want to make 2 rouse checks for this.
Got it.
So I will become invisible in a bit.
Got it. We'll just come over, take in the cathedral, and then she will look up over at the conciergerie and know that her entire estate was removed in that location. And she contemplates it. She has her fan out, and she checked them before she came. She knows they're sharp. But she has it out. And bonjour. I heard all those up at the conciergerie are anti-revolutionary.
That is its purpose, yes.
Hmm. What might that say about those inside?
It says that they are being accused of being anti-revolutionary. Now,
Yep.
I have a proposition for you. And if you are amenable, I believe it is one way we could accelerate our purpose. If we permit whomever we meet to believe that you are reconsidering our old ways, you might be perceived as a valued asset to someone ambitious enough to think beyond their next kill.
Of course, I am an asset to whoever I lay my attentions towards. But yes, I had a similar thought. It could be easily seen as a undercover job to put somebody of our allegiances inside the Camarade.
Now, the person that I wish to speak with first is Georges Couton. I am curious as to why he seemed to be investigating Sebastian's disappearance when his own...
When he would have known he was in the conciergerie.
Or perhaps
as I said,
not, both of which are interesting possibilities.
Very true. How is Elena?
Eleanor is safe. As safe as any of us can be. Which...
Safe as Sebastian was?
Let's not talk about such things in this little place. Maybe that's best to be kept under locked doors.
Agreed. Now, Beck, would I know if Georges Couton spends his nights here? Like, is he to be expected to be found in this area, or does he only come here on occasion?
Ooh, interesting. I'll get you to make a check, because...
I only just just actually thought of that.
Yeah.
But if that's not feasible, then
That's
we
okay.
can do it the original intent.
That'll
Your best friend
be.
Crouton.
I'll be honest.
Our buddy Crouton.
I can't believe. That's on a need to know basis. I'll get you to make a check of a tricky
Whether you
check
need to
for
know.
you.
Here we go.
Intelligence streetwise. So just intelligence for you. Unfortunately.
Uh-huh. That is one success.
Okay. With one success, you probably don't know where exactly, but you know he's not the type to loiter around in prisons. That's not really his job. He
Yep, no, that's fair.
is a lawmaker, and so he probably wouldn't be here.
Yep. All right. Well, then I won't expect to talk to him here. But I suppose there's two options then. Either to attempt to make a prison visit, or to go to church.
You are the pack priest, so they may give you a chance to redeem him.
Perhaps.
And redeem yourself, I suppose.
Indeed. Well, I believe to church is the better place for a priest.
Please lead the way.
Well, if you wish to make yourself scarce, Mael, now might be the time.
I'm not planning to enter in with the lies that I might want to rejoin. I'm a decent liar. I'm not that good.
Of course.
I'll keep an ear out if you need to inform me or ask of anything while you are unseen.
Well then, let's go to Notre Dame.
Okay.
I'm mind blanking. Is adieu goodbye in French?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
always say
Adieu.
adieu as a greeting, and it's such a problem.
Because you've got au revoir as well
Au revoir
as
is
adieu.
Yes,
more
it's au
formal.
revoir that I'm thinking.
Adieu's more final, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas au revoir is like, I'll see you around.
Mm.
Got it.
Yes, I
In
missed
that case, au revoir.
So Remy and Lucretia, you're going into the church. Am I getting that correct? Lovely. And Mael is, I'm assuming, waiting outside and then obfuscating herself. Lovely. We'll start with you then, Mael. While you're outside, do you activate Unseen Passage, or is it just Cloak of Shadows?
Oh no, I am using Unseen Passage.
Great.
Your boy is careful here.
Make a rouse check for me in that case.
I will. Success.
Lovely.
At some point in the middle of this church, I will frenzy. I swear.
Actually, if that's happening, am I allowed to preemptively put up fleetness?
Yeah, you can activate it for the scene.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will do that as we walk towards the Church of Reason near the prison. She's like, I might need to leave soon. So I think she kind of instinctually, her beast is feeling quite threatened right now. And she is like, her fan is moving very quickly in front of her. So I'm also going to, if possible, Daunt does not draw attention to me, it does the opposite, right?
Yeah, it draws people away from you.
I think she instinctually kind of activates that because
Great.
she really doesn't want anyone paying attention to her.
Lovely. People are sort of instinctively feel uneasy at your sort of bestial presence in this particular case, and the sea of people sort of parts for you as you enter.
Yeah.
Wouldn't Remy also have to resist that?
Yeah, definitely.
Fair.
If
Well,
Oh.
I'm looking behind. Oh no, she wouldn't walk behind
there is a
you.
check.
Yeah, you would need to resist. It is.
I would
have
walk.
it
Oh
here.
no, never mind.
Thanks.
Resolve and composure. You only need to beat 2.
2 is a set difficulty of 2. Or
Correct.
else you move away from Lucretia as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Might as well
You're
try.
my pack member. We're trying to
That's 3
be back
successes.
together, but I don't want to be close to her.
3
Well,
successes?
I got 3, so
Okay, yeah. You
Can't
can
push me away.
feel this sort of nefarious presence emanating from her, but you've been around her long enough, and you've seen her do this many times before that you're
She doesn't
prepared
want
for
to
it.
be seen.
Yeah. When you enter, it's kind of chaotic, but in an orderly sort of way, if that makes sense. There is somebody that is. The inside of the church has been set up in a way in which it looks very similar to the Cordeliers Club, which you were in previous night, with a big sort of lectern in the center. A lot more grand, sort of like kind of clerical stairwell that sort of leads into a kind of overseeing lectern that looks over the pews and such, all of which have been either smashed or moved to one of the sides of this grand cathedral. These gothic sort of stone carvings, the stained glass windows of, well, it's the Notre Dame. You know what it looks like. But the sort of religious imagery that these stained glass windows present kind of stand in mockery of the sparseness of this room and the kind of Eucharistic act that's going on in the center of the room in this case. They have a man sort of tied up on this lectern, sort of overlooking, he's blindfolded, this rabble of 200 people, I would say, and they are sort of taking it in turns, coming up to him and beating him, with implements, with their bare fists, whatever it is they can find, with pieces of stone that have fallen from various sort of columns and such, when this place was ransacked, probably not too long ago, when the Church of Reason kind of took a hold of Paris. Whoever this man is, he's been deemed, from what you can tell, some sort of anti-revolutionary, and this mob of people seems to be made up very similarly of the people that Mael would have seen previously in the night. These working people, these people who don't show any sign of opulence, of aristocracy in their dress, in the way that they speak. Even their accents are kind of reminiscent of the working people of the city, and they all sort of wear these tricolor kind of lapel things in their hats as they go up and beat on this poor man who is growing steadily unconscious as time wears on. This is the scene that is laid out before you when you enter.
I want to look around and see if I recognize any of the Canaanites here. If there is anyone of importance I could bring my suit to.
Great. Wits awareness for me.
Right.
And I imagine that the person being beat on is of no real or just someone off the street.
Just wears the same manner of dress as everybody else here.
It's 4 successes.
There are no Canaanites here. No one that you recognize. You look over all of the faces of everybody. No Canaanites. All of them just people. You don't recognize any of them. None of them look remotely vampiric to you. You know exactly what you're looking for in this instance, and you know the signs of which to look for, and none of them are here. This is just a group of angry people beating on this guy for some reason.
I guess maybe I'll give one last effort to activate Sense the Unseen and see if I can see anybody hidden,
Hmm.
obfuscated around watching?
No check required.
Oh, no.
None.
Okay. I'm going to just lean, without even looking to Lucretia, say, I believe we need to leave.
Such a display.
No one here can help us now.
No. She'll. I think there is a moment where, as you talk to her, her eyes don't leave this display. This is the Church of Reason. Like, this is what was built. This is Robespierre's belief in action. And it can't be stopped. Like, she's just like, this is it. This is what he is fighting for. And he is maintaining this. And she can't help but be like, I wonder when
Hmm.
this will end. And then she absolutely fights the part of herself that says, you are going to end it. And she ignores it. She tenses up and will turn away to leave.
Yeah, certainly.
Could I use a moment that they are looking at this display and trying to see if there's anyone else? Maya will definitely not be watching the display that closely. And with a rather disdain, she will turn away. And could I see if I could find any other activities? Maybe hear people nearby, smell certain kindred. See if there's any activity nearby that would also be happening in another corridor, another room.
Of the church. Yeah, sure. I'll get you to make I think a wits and survival roll to sort of track noises around or track sights. See if there's people
Your
that have gone certain
Mike
ways.
just shitted it.
Your mic cut out.
Oh,
Indeed.
it just did it itself. Yeah, thanks. I'll get you to make a wit survival roll to sort of track the sounds and footsteps in the dusty, uncleaned ground. To see if people have gone down certain corridors or certain back passageways in this large church that spreads kind of all throughout various secret passages and such.
I only got one success. Here we go, boys, into church, and we're gonna start rolling bad.
With one success, you follow a few footprints and such around. And you turn a corner, and there are two people kind of standing there, talking amongst themselves. They seem to have some kind of piece of paper with them, or multiple leaflets of paper or something. And when you're obfuscated, aren't you? Currently. Cool. Great. When you around the corner, one of them sort of frowns and looks up, looks around them, and sort of taps the other one on the shoulder, shrugs, and seems to notice something, shakes their head, and puts the papers sort of in their coat, and they move on.
Whilst they, in the minute that the papers were still out, do I recognize them as A, flyers about a certain Camarilla kindred, or B, flyers about a certain belief?
Make a wits awareness. High difficulty because they stuff them into their clothes very quickly.
It's the burn book. Oh no.
The burn book.
No, I'm not gonna get your high difficulty. Two successes.
Yeah, you don't quite catch what they were. You see that they had writing on them. No pictures. It wasn't an image. It was some kind of leaflet with text on it. That's all you get.
I will quietly back away.
Certainly. When you reach the sort of main entrance hall, you probably see Remy and Lucretia coming out as well. And you can all meet back outside if you wish.
I
I'm
don't know if
certainly
we're...
not. Sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
gonna say to Lucretia, I don't know if we're going to have better luck at the prison.
I think
Although
we will.
I appreciate your faith.
Yes,
Well,
because that was utterly a waste of time. A lovely display of belief.
well, at least you got a show.
Yes, it is. Grotesque to see. Let's go.
Onward then. I guess we'll approach the prison. Is it a situation where there's like armed guards all over the place or outside of it? How does one enter the place?
Okay, so the geography of this place is it's sort of built off the island into the river, if that makes sense. So you kind of enter over like a sort of drawbridge type situation in a little bit. It's very, very reminiscent of the kind of mid-medieval period in a sense. Sort of 9th, 10th century kind of thing going on. So there are 2 armed guards that sort of man the sort of gatekeep and drawbridge that stand there. And then there is a sort of big medieval iron door on the other side that leads into the prison itself. What is Mael doing before we go any further?
Following behind a footsteps pace away.
Great.
Because that is how you enter things you're not supposed to enter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Slip through. What would you like to do?
There is the quietest whisper, just so that Remy can hear it, but Mael would also hear it. And she just says, "It is time to protect the second estate." She's second estate, right?
Definitely.
What remains of it?
Yeah.
Well then, when we approach the drawbridge where the guards are, do they make to stop us? I presume.
Yeah. One of them just says, "Sir, evening."
Evening.
Madame,
Bonjour.
your business?
Church business.
Church business. You'll have to be specific. No churchmen in here, I'm afraid.
Ah. You misunderstand. The Church of the Supreme Being.
I see. You are a missionary sent by the convention?
I would very quickly, just as this is going on, because she's pretty good with etiquette and surviving not looking like herself, is keeping an ear on the conversation to whenever it would seem right for her to step in to improve chances. She will. That's what she's doing. She is playing the part of diligent woman.
Lovely.
But when it comes down to it, she will speak up.
We are here to question a prisoner.
I see. That is very interesting. I don't think we were expecting any inquisitorial responses this evening.
Well, it is a season for surprises.
Manipulation subterfuge for me.
Right. Okay.
Lucretia, your presence there, you can add 1 extra dice to your roll.
Yay!
Sweet.
You're just there like, yes, we're here to question someone, and this woman with utter menace coming off of her.
You look like an inquisitor.
That is with the help 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
Yeah, I rolled shit. With a big dice pool, so you beat me.
Oh, fantastic.
He sort of looks you up and down, tries to look at you, Lucretia, quickly averts his eyes, looks to his partner, and says, yes, just speak to Monsieur Louis-Antoine when you get inside. And then his partner goes and lowers the drawbridge. Takes a few minutes. It's a very old mechanism, but eventually you cross, and the iron doors open. Mael, I'm assuming you slip in behind the both of them as well. Not very difficult. This huge door takes a while to open and close, so you don't have to be very dexterous to fit in any creaks in the doors this time. But you enter, and it's sort of just a sparse kind of room with sort of plastered fresco kind of arched roofs and things like that were probably once painted quite beautifully but have faded into nothing now over the years, and nobody's bothered to sort of create a kind of I guess you call it like a restoration of the paintings that were there before. There are guards spotted around this chamber, probably 6, sort of one on each corner, and then 2 in front of the door opposite you that leads down, Remy, you would know this, into the cells, up into the various different towers and wings and sections of this huge castle, basically, chateau, that forms this huge fortress that leads both up high into the sky and underground also. But standing sort of leaning against the desk in the center of the room is a young man dressed in sort of stiff bourgeois blacks with a sort of very thick high cravat that makes his neck look really, really thick, as though he can't move his head at all. He's kind of like stuck in this position. Remy, actually all 3 of you would recognize his face as Louis-Antoine de Saint-Just, this kind of fair, almost effeminate young man with dark eyes, kind of hair that he doesn't wear up. In the same way that Robespierre and such does, it sort of just flows down to his shoulders. And he kind of just leans against the desk and looks at the 2 of you as you come in. Nods to you, Remy, gives Lucretia a sort of curious glance and says,
He deliberately, fan lowers and will use Blush of Life to blush.
Make a rouse check for me.
Yeah, that one's good. She succeeds on that. So yeah, all this blood rushes up into her cheeks as he looks over. Actually, I think she'll drop Daunt in the same instance.
And then the blood rushes up at the same time. Yeah. You notice, Mael, that he doesn't look your way at all. He's clearly not aware remotely that you're there. Would you like to do something?
Yeah, I'm gonna say, for the whole time that we are in here, I will definitely walk behind the other 2 because they're kind of shelter as well. And if they are going to go into a room with significant other kindred, I think Mael will kind of try to stay behind the door or something. Because she knows she is rather well hidden. She knows she is not hidden enough for some people in here.
Yeah.
Certainly. Sounds good. Hidden enough, and you notice that his eyes sort of pass over you and don't stop on you at all. So it's safe to assume that he can't see you in any manner as you come in. But you stand behind them and still have a good view of the entire room. He sort of just leans against the desk, as I said, raises his eyebrows, says, Remy. Good evening.
And the same to you.
It's good
I'm-
to see you. I'm just kind of surprised to see you here tonight.
Well, it is a season for surprises.
Is it?
Now, of course. The steady hand of fate is always surprising. It's one of its pleasing paradoxes. I am hopefully here to clear up what I believe is a unfortunate ripple in its execution, a misunderstanding. And I'm pleased to see you as well.
I'm the hand of fate, indeed. I wonder what it seeks to reach down and grab, if you don't mind me saying. And who,
well.
may I ask, have you brought with you? Madame,
Without-
mademoiselle?
She gives a curtsy. Pleasure to see you again, Monsieur Saint Just. It is a shame that when we had first spoke, my face has not made an impact as yours had impact on me.
I see quite a few. Unfortunately, though I am remiss to have forgotten one such as yours.
You are so kind. We met at the festival of the Supreme Being.
I'm afraid
We
you
had
have
a-
me at a disadvantage.
A riveting discussion was had. I understand if you do not remember, but I will be accompanying Remy.
I see. And what is your name?
Ooh, do I lie? Do I lie? Um,
So
no,
me-
she was in the Sabbat before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Etiquette-wise, would she still say Madame because she's?
If you want to be really good, you
same.
could say citoyenne.
Yeah, I think she's playing very safe, so she'll say I'm Citoyenne Lucretia.
I see. It's... No, I do remember you. We spoke at the festival.
Yes,
Your
course.
ideas were quite magnificent.
Yes, as they remain to be.
And yet you consort in the Palais Royal.
Indeed, I do. Of reasons you may inquire upon when we are not engaged in business.
No, I think I'd like to know now.
I told you it was a season for surprises, did I not?
You did. And it is the gift that apparently we'll seek to keep giving. Thank you for bringing her here, Remy.
Of course. I wanted to make sure you understood how serious I'm taking my business here tonight. Now, and I'm just going to sort of not look at any of the guards, but sort of just flick his eyes left and right and say, may we speak candidly?
Of course. Thank you for bringing her here, by the way. Doing my job for me. I appreciate it.
Oh,
Someone important to me is here now.
Yes?
I believe that this is a mistake.
On whose part?
It's hard for me to say. But I do know that Sebastian is here.
Ah, your packmate. Unfortunate case. Was, consulting with a group of fouillants. Ex-second estate, no less. He looks at you significantly, Lucretia, as he says this.
she gasps.
And talking about how terrible everything is currently, how it needs to change, how it needs to go back to the way it was before.
I see.
Unfortunate company your packmate keeps.
Indeed.
I think I understand the nature of the misunderstanding now. Monsieur Saint-Just, we approach our problems differently. And I admire yours, your zeal.
My
I'm
zeal.
a student of zeal. Yes.
As
your
am
commitment,
I. A student of many things.
Of course. There are those of us who pursue our mutual ends with different sorts of strategies, playing to our different strengths. We are not all as gifted in terms of raw might. Some of us use different tactics to bring down our enemies. I believe that Sebastian was taking such a step of his own initiative.
Worrisome?
Perhaps. Or impressive. 'Tis the result which seems to have determined it. I believe that Sebastian was acting in good faith. And I believe that his apprehension is a mistake.
You've come here to ask me to give him back to you, then?
Yes. You know that I possess certain gifts that can resolve the truth of the matter.
Of course, of course. Yes, I know. It's remarkable, the things you can do. But you said it yourself, you can't prove that he was acting in good faith. It's simply a belief you have. How strong does this
You-
belief run?
Well, you know as well as I do the power of belief. But I believe that I can come very close to certainty that Sebastian was doing what he was doing with the correct purpose. Or at the very least, that he was being used.
By
Something that I
whom?
do not take kindly to. This is a great mystery to me. One that I'm very interested in solving, and one which I believe could come to a mutually beneficial end.
As a former packmate of Monsieur Remy, I can say he is very good at keeping people in line.
Former
He has
packmate.
even brought me back here. Is how
to be-
Hmm?
To be clear, if I whisper here to Lucretia, no one else will be able to see me because
It's
I
just a
whisper
whisper.
to her directly.
And I've heightened senses, so you can whisper
Yeah.
quiet.
At that moment, I whisper to Lucretia, "You should have said pack member, not former pack member."
But they know who's in a pack together.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
she's not gonna lie to Saint Just.
It would have shown your motivation to be back into a pack together.
She'll hear it and forge on. As a former pack member of Monsieur Remy, I have kept close contact with him. He has great capabilities of keeping people in line.
I see. So,
I
Remy,
am
you have
convinced.
brought me this one in exchange for your packmate, your current one, if I understand correctly.
I think we need to understand correctly the nature of that exchange. Citoyenne Lucretia is a very capable canite, able to achieve many things in places where not many of our kind are able to go freely.
Citoyen Lucretia consorts with the Camarilla of this city.
That word, consort.
And what evidence do you have, Saint Just? Because if you have evidence, I would like to see it.
Shall I follow you home at the end of the night to your gates, your Pele gates, perhaps?
You may come into my bedroom.
I would quite like to see it, and all of the lovely, lovely company you keep.
Yes, all of us divine beings.
Indeed.
Citoyen Saint-Just, I believe that Lucretia can afford you exactly that opportunity when the time is right, which I believe to be very soon.
Yes, but I would like information first. Monsieur Remy deserves information before this happens.
I just know that you understand that the bond between packmates is a sacred one.
Oh, yes.
Beyond
Very much.
sacred.
It has
One that I
bound us
value.
together for centuries. I'm not about to
Indeed.
discredit it.
So surely you would think it strange if I did not take this as seriously as possible. And my efforts to prove Sebastian's good intentions, and, incidentally, his further use to our cause.
Hmm.
That is part of why I've brought Citoyen Lucretia here. I do not like to approach my friends empty-handed. I think that we all stand to benefit from this association, this consorting.
And
I have been quite
specifically,
excited to see you again. Saint Just.
I am so sorry I couldn't remember your name. citoyenne Lucretia. And tell me, Remy, before I go ahead with this, exactly how will it be beneficial to me? Plain and simple, please. I'm but a simple zealot.
You have been hunting former Camarilla. I just realized, so as a quick pause, is this when I asked if we could speak candidly,
Mm.
that was kind of a masquerade related question, but I realize I'm not sure if that's been fully answered. So I don't know if I can use that kind of a term.
Yeah, you can. That's
But,
fine.
okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if
Or
that's
real-
He's not
and-
gonna psychoanalyze you for that.
No, I mean for the guards that are
Oh,
here, the
right.
mortals.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I
That's
didn't know if that
completely
was-
fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. There are a number of prominent members of that association still here.
Hmm.
They do not need to remain hidden for long. We
No.
have it within our powers to make sure that is the case. And with the right amount of consorting, we can bring it to pass that they will be present and vulnerable to your attentions.
A hefty promise. Something I don't know if you'd be able to do on your own, but with this one, are you sure you'd be willing to expel the beloved members of your estate and bring them to justice?
Well, that is quite a large question. of
That
which
is
I have
what's being
come-
asked of you.
Ah, I see. Well, perhaps it can be discussed at Elysium.
Elysium.
Yes.
About what do you speak?
A collection, a gathering. of
I know
people
what
who may
Elysium
come.
is.
It is a place to converse, where we may all share our beliefs in liberty, freedom, our own divine beings. It should be a council, an Elysium of great entities of reason.
So you wish to hold a congregation of the Supreme Being. You can do that anywhere, darling.
Yes, and I am holding it at my Elysium.
Are you offering me an invitation?
Would you be interested in coming?
Very
Would
much.
you behave?
What do you mean by that?
I think you know what I mean by that, Sintress.
Oh, I think I can. For you, for
Oh, if
The
you behave
promise?
for me, Sintress, you will be treated.
of your friends.
Of course. Everyone will behave at my Elysium, or there will be hell to pay.
Do they mean much to you? These Camarilla folk of yours?
As much as your people matter to you,
A great deal, then.
seems.
It'd be quite sorrowful to part with them in such a way, and so soon. You'll barely get to say goodbye.
I believe in the power of discussion. Not all of them are your enemy.
Remains to be seen.
Yes, have you spoken to them recently?
No, I don't make it a habit, unfortunately. Maybe
Yes,
I
we
am
must-
mistaken. Who knows?
Yes, we will never know until words are exchanged, until information is gathered. Information that Monsieur Remy is looking for about Sebastian.
It is unfortunate that the rest of them don't seem to possess the same courage as you to venture out of their little homes and expound upon their beliefs in the good word of Maxime.
I am an exquisite being beyond compare.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yes, when we met at the festival, I was not. My beliefs are my beliefs, and they are exceptional. Let me see Sebastian now.
So, you wish me to release Sebastian, for he is a member of your pack, and go against the way that our good friend Georges Couton has written the laws to protect the purity and virtue of this glorious republic?
I believe that our good friend Georges Couton would be very curious to know about Sebastian's whereabouts at this moment.
I see. Perhaps that bears talking to him about, in that case. Very well. If that is what you wish to prioritize, I can't fault the strength and power and significance of the Vaulderie, which is inevitably was what led us into this situation. Something that's worrisome.
I beg your pardon.
Simply that the strength of your bond does not correspond with mine.
How do you mean?
Merely that perhaps he was wrongly convicted, and it is the strength of your relationship that brings you here, the sacred bond, the sharing of blood. Perhaps a situation like this can be avoided if we understood each other better. No matter.
I should like very much to understand you better.
Yes. As I would you.
All of this talk about the sacred bonds and all of the blood, I would like to use Extinguish Vitae on Saint-Just.
Okay.
Because maybe his beast is riling up with all of that talk. I roach checked. I roach checked successfully.
Great.
And so now I need to roll an intelligence and blood sorcery versus his stamina and composure to see if it has any effect.
I will roll to resist.
Oh, didn't happen. You know what? This has the energy of that one Vine where he's like, "So, what we're gonna? Can't believe you've done this."
Wow.
You steal things.
Okay. That's a normal one, right? Okay.
How many successes?
4.
I also got 4. A tie goes to you. Suddenly, as he's thinking, he sort of, in a split moment, Mayella, you know exactly what's happened. He kind of hunches over slightly and hisses. What the fuck?
Citoyen?
An issue.
What the fuck?
Remy's going to start looking around the room at
Yeah.
the guards.
Mael will whisper to Lucretia and say, "Looks like his blood bonds are acting up."
She will, because they were literally just talking about bonds, be like, "Did something happen with their bond?"
Snarls at you, Lucretia. Goes over to one of the guards and sort of rips his head to the side.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry. Can I quickly use entrancement, because I completely forgot that I have that ability, and if I use it, he doesn't know that I'm trying to use it, right?
Yeah. No.
Because it's like you just look at them and then suddenly can't believe I was talking about it before. I completely forgot.
That's okay. Make a rouse check
So-
and charisma presence.
And he does composure wins.
Mm-hmm.
You were doing an entrancement without even rolling. Like, you
Yeah.
can look into my bed chambers.
Cue Christina
Charis-
Aguilera over here.
That specifically.
I'm going to get my power bonus. 'cause I'm a
Mm.
big girl.
Oh yeah, true. Power bonuses.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, this makes too much sense. It's a messy crit. 1,
Okay.
2, 3, 4.
I'm
So,
looking I'm looking for 9 successes.
whoa, I will rouse.
Dang.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh.
Just
We'll
in
use a
between
willpower
power
to
bonus. What do you mean with that?
When
I
you
get
roll
to roll an
disciplines.
extra die on my discipline.
Because of your blood
Yeah.
potency?
Yeah,
Um,
but we have the same thing. But do you have to rouse the blood and only then can you have that?
No, whenever you use a discipline, you get 1 extra die.
Oh,
Yeah.
No matter
mine would
what.
have had even more successes, maybe. Well, actually, I'll roll another dice.
Yeah. In case you
Oh, no,
get a
but only-
critical.
Well, yeah, but how? I don't know if it's possible for me to roll a critical anymore, right?
You would have to remember the original.
You'd have to
roll with
remember the
very
original
big
roll.
increments.
Yeah, I have it in Discord, but no critical. Or
Oh,
but
okay.
good to remember.
Yeah. If it was a critical, it
I-
would be 2 blood points removed from him instead of 1. Yeah.
I got 9,
Uh-huh.
and with the crit, I like, if you're okay with it, it
Mhm.
makes perfect sense that her compulsion would activate
Yeah.
because St. Just is the manifestation of justice.
Yeah, you become
And he
fixated on
is-
him.
She's just like, oh, he believes this. Oh, and like when
Yeah.
he gets, it's in the instant that he hisses and she says, "Is it something to do with your bond?" And he just snarls. She goes, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
oh no, yeah." So the entrancement works, but
Mm.
now she is entranced by him. so-
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's obsessed with him. So
yeah. He
you're
already was. Now it's her blood is like, you need this,
Yeah.
man.
Mm-hmm. He strides over to the nearest guard, sort of rips his head off, and plunges his entire sort of face into the wound that he creates from this guard and just drinks. And you can see his fingers like tear into the body of this guy, armored and all that he is, kind of tearing him, ripping him up into ribbons as he feeds on him. The whole ordeal is over in about 2 seconds, and he just sort of drops to the floor, kind of messy, grotesque visage of organs and bones coming out at all directions, angles, body matter, as he sort of sucks up the blood through his hands, through his mouth, through every sort of pore of him that touches this guy. And yeah, bleeds him dry in a couple of seconds, and he just falls to the ground dead. And he kind of closes his eyes for a moment and turns around, bloodied now, that perfectly sort of placed white cravat that he was wearing, kind of all stained and bloodied now. What did you do?
She's awestruck. So Remy will meet. She's just like heart eyes.
Forgive me. I am sure that Citoyenne Lucretia has her charms, but I believe she was just concerned for your welfare. We saw something come over you.
Something come over me?
Would never
Would you
interfere.
like to be more specific about that?
Yes. I'll tell you
Please.
exactly what I saw.
Enlighten me.
I saw Raw potential unleashed without fear. But that sort of thing doesn't happen without a prompter, for all of its might and beauty and power. You were moved.
By the bond, by justice.
What happened had nothing to do with the bond.
DGN Shroud.
What happened was my blood was sucked from my body just now. Just like that.
He looks around at the other guards.
Have you experienced something like this before?
Of course I have. Nobody in this room can do it. At least, not until you two walked in.
That is not something within the bounds of my capabilities.
Never interfere with the things you do and represent.
I tend to ask nicely.
I see. So you don't wish to expound me with your honesty now? I don't see any way else that this could have been done. Do you?
No. But I do know that the mysteries of our vitae far exceed our basic understandings of time, space, and place.
Justice is there to be found. What can you find in this? I want to
Raw,
know.
beautiful potential, citoyenne Lucretia. Tell me, you enjoy the theories of our good Maxime, do you not?
Very much so, yes. And your representations of justice.
Have you ever wished the experience of tasting that raw, sanguine, incorruptible potential that he brings to all of us?
Her next words are whispered, like she just goes, "Have you?"
I have. I share his will here in me.
His strength is his.
You want your pack make back, Remy.
Very much so.
I'll give him back. And at your little Elysium tomorrow, we will all share each other's blood. And it will be beautiful.
I could not have imagined you would have granted us such an opportunity. But I thank you for it.
It is the only way I can solidify or prove this justice to which you speak, to which you admire so much.
Oh.
And to make certain that whatever just happened indeed wasn't some ridiculous slight made against the Republic.
Oh, no. Would not want that.
We wouldn't. He turns around and goes through the doors at the opposite end of the room You wait.
Lucretia tries to follow him.
If she does so, he turns around as the doors are still open and he's walked through. He
May I
says,
come with?
"No, you may not."
Why? Why not? I want to see you work.
Because you
Please.
still wear the face of somebody who doesn't know quite who they are, my dear.
Let me become that you. I want to see this justice that you represent. I need to see it. Please.
He reaches out and puts a hand on your chest, just above your bosom, where the skin is there. No.
Oh god. Technically, with entrancement going, can I try to do anything, or is he like hella fixed on this?
He's actively fighting against himself because you are saying this. He just rolled really well to resist.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, she will shudder at his touch. But when he says no, there's real defiance. Like she stares him down for real. But then a part of her speaks. It's trying to push through the compulsion, but the compulsion is really strong. So I think she'll say, "Can the door stay open at least, so I can watch from here?"
Fine.
Thank you. She gives a curtsy.
Longingly stare after him as he goes off.
Leaving, I don't know, perhaps enough room in the doorway for maybe an individual to possibly walk through unhindered.
Just to be clear, the guards are like holding their bayonets out to block your way between the two of you.
Got it. Still enough room for probably an individual to slip, duck, jump. Who knows through? I don't know. I'm not trying to get through. I am following what I'm being told.
Is that right? I want to ask what Mael thinks is doing. What's her state of mind right now?
This did not go the way she planned it to. And she is low-key wary of the other two. Remy not as much because he has been playing this part the whole time. And she knows he can do that and still hold his own beliefs. Lucretia, on the other hand, she very much was very passionate in that moment. And that makes Maya wary that she may just switch sides. I think in that split second that Saint just marches off and there's the possibility to follow, Maya will not whisper to Lucretia, but will take a step closer to Remy instead and whisper to him, "Is it of any added value that I follow him? Or are you satiated now?"
Remy's just gonna shake his head no. Just ever so slightly.
Alright, then she will stay because she has no curiosity of her own to quell in there with the sombre and the dark, deep corners.
Fair enough. Lovely. In that case, with the watchful
Does he leave
eye.
my side? At any point does he leave my
Yes.
side?
Yes.
Okay. Then my
Definitely.
compulsion ends, is that right?
Yeah. The scene
Okay.
with him present in your sort of vicinity of obsession falls away. Like a weight lifted from your chest.
Yeah, I think the like blood pulsing desire to like celerity after him kind of becomes just desire, I think. She just presses her hand exactly where he touched her chest. And we'll still watch, but her blood is not like dominating.
Yeah. With Blush of Life especially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Lucretia looks flush. Like the rouge she paints on her cheeks is now real in a sense.
Yeah.
Almost more human than a real one, in this sense. You hear distant noises, crashing, a howl from below. Something distant and grotesque and horrifying goes silent after a moment or two. And
I'm heightened senses, like listening and looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With heightened senses, you can hear the sort of scratching on the walls.
I'm pretty sure
of
I
this
know
one.
what's going on.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Just in case there's any smaller details or whispers.
Yeah. The howl of a god as he is attacked forcefully, brutally by what you can only assume is a hungry, frenzying Sebastian from deep within the conciergerie. And after a few more minutes, Saint-Just comes up again. Sebastian isn't shackled at all. He is just probably in the same clothes, the theater attire, I would say, as he probably left in when he went searching for whatever it is that was supposedly following him. And just holds him by the arm, and that's all that is needed as he brings him back up into the room. The guards part their bayonets. Lucretia, you're standing right there.
I would step out of the way and move beside Remy. Like when he comes up, she just stands there. She just takes up the doorway and then will step back.
Yeah. His hair is kind of... blood is kind of caked through it, and it's sort of matted to his head now. This sort of prim, perfect image that he was presenting when you first arrived is sort of given way to this more bestial kind of thing. But now he is in the kind of thralls of having just reduced his hunger to being absolutely sated. So you can see there's a kind of a pleasurable afterglow in his eyes almost as he sort of holds onto this man, and kind of this man who's much bigger than him in stature, by the way. He's like 6.5 feet tall, solidly built, wearing these clothes, and just hands him over to you, Remy, without any word, looking you in the eye the entire time.
Thank you.
Thank you. I cannot wait for tomorrow.
Indeed, nor can I.
I'm glad to hear it. I shall invite them all then, in that case, and we will all sit in a circle and expound upon the beauty of virtue, purity, reason, the enlightenment that awaits us together soon.
Of course. An Elysium of divine beings.
Indeed.
I wonder when dreams made manifest.
Soon enough. I cannot wait. If that
Remy
is all.
will just kind of make a polite bow and look to Sebastian and just kind of nod reassuringly and turn and look to Lucretia as well.
She waits for your lead.
All right, then Remy will walk towards the exit.
She will follow.
Great. He watches. You can feel his eyes on your back as you all leave. giving you a look that if you saw, it would be very difficult to place. But you all go across the drawbridge again and end up in the square between the conciergerie and the grand cathedral of the Notre Dame once more.
Mhm.
To end with, are there any words between you? If you find a place alone where you can speak
Yeah.
freely, say.
Yeah. The minute that there's like enough privacy to speak without being overheard, Lucretia goes, Bonjour, Sebastian. How are you?
Quite terrible, if you want to know the truth.
Yes, I heard anti-revolutionary behavior does that to people.
Huh. Suppose it does. At least the implication of it. That's all one needs, I suppose. I should have known better. But here we are.
Yes, you have been quite the inconvenience because of that implication.
Also, perhaps, an occasion for an opportunity. One that has not been present for a very long time. I hope it will have been worth your pains, Sebastian. It is
I'm
time
here.
for you. It is time for you to rest. We have much to discuss.
Indeed we do. Thank you for coming to get me. You didn't need to do that. I was happy to let it go.
To die.
For your sake? For Eleanor's sake? For my stupidity?
Well, then what do you think I was happy to do for your sake?
All in the blood, right?
All in the blood.
Yeah. Touche, I guess. Goes both ways.
Touches always do.
Yeah.
Now, we have much to attend to. Eleanor will be relieved that
Yes,
you
I
can be
should.
returned.
I should go and see her.
Indeed, I will be there shortly as well. Do remain vigilant.
Yeah, of course. I'm not gonna talk to anyone until I get over the whatever that was. We'll stay holed up in the theater for all I care.
Be sure to watch Eleanor's back.
Definitely.
Make sure she watches yours.
In her own way, yeah. I suppose she does. But I'm scared she might be. Anyway, I'll
Guess
go
she
and
might
see
be
her.
what?
Nothing.
Scared she might be nothing. I'm sure she would love to hear that.
I'm sure she would.
Sebastian, you've had many cares these past days, nights. I'll have questions for you soon.
All
We
right.
can discuss.
Yes, I will go. Thank you again. I'll be sure to thank you properly when you come back to the theater.
I look forward to it.
And he goes.
Thank you. And then at a slightly louder volume, both. I'm
You owe me a
afraid.
great deal now.
Yes. Do you understand? It was always going to be that way.
Hmm.
Now, we are truly making moves. I am prepared to offer kind.
Can you see?
Take your time. It might be that you have of front of mind matter that I can be of similar assistance with, and yet it might be that that time will come, and when you know it, all you need to do is ask.
Seems at first my concern is ensuring that I do not have the entire Sabbat come and kill everybody inside of the Palais Royal.
I have to admit, I was surprised at your offer. It was extremely convenient.
The
Point
Elysium
I
is a
want to
place
take.
for everyone to talk.
There's going to be quite a conversation.
Yes.
What was that, Mael?
We're making moves, but it's inviting the Sabbat over to Camarilla territory to all feast upon each other really the moves we want to be making.
Do we not want to talk to each other?
I don't think Singh just had talking in mind just then. I don't think you did either at that moment.
Hmm. But it seems we're in quite a tight situation then. How will you be
If
assisting?
I cannot assist you to keep your mind to talking, Krisha. That's something you need to do for yourself and stand by.
Yes, very true. But how will you be assisting while I talk? What do you bring to the table?
The only thing I bring to the table is that if things turn badly, then I can at least assure that we get out alive. How about that?
I think it very imprudent for us to ever doubt Mael's capabilities. Your
No.
ongoing support, Mael, is of a great importance to me. Now, what we just walked into and out of may well have been the most dangerous thing any of us has experienced in the last few years, and that is no small thing. I feel much more confident for having had you there, subtly there, even if your less subtle talents were not required.
Yes,
You
I
would
am
have
very
kept
curious
talking otherwise.
what
You were
did you hope to
talking all the
achieve?
time. Did you think he would? Miles constantly whispering, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm, mm.
Um, did you think he would actually give up in the end? I thought that maybe a little incurring of his beast at the right moment would help speed things along.
It
Wow.
certainly sped something along.
Yes, it did.
And here we are, Sebastian out, and the Sabbat coming to the Camarilla as supposedly was your plan all along.
You know, you may be right. Sometimes an actor's performance is more than enough, but an actor's performance and an alarming bit of stagecraft. Well, that's all anyone talks about at dinner, isn't it? I don't believe he's going to be forgetting your face anytime soon, Lucretia.
No, it is a face hard to forget. I am surprised he forgot in the first place.
I have
All
not
of the
seen
women
you.
around here, incredible beings, but none look as I look.
I
We
must
had
say,
an
I have
engaging conversation and he forgot.
I have not seen anyone say that to you. Perhaps ever. Truly, not to pick a wound, but it was something to see.
Frustrating. Ugh. And the fact my respected that man at one point.
Do you mean moments ago?
Yes. Mm.
One would think your heart still beats, Lucretia. How it changes.
And one would think your respect sways as much as your beliefs.
Should they not? Does respect
Very
not change
slowly.
as situations change?
Just stating something.
Yes, you are quite fond of that.
Indeed, because I have beliefs to base them on. Quite
Then,
funny, I should
Mael,
try it sometimes.
the offer I have extended to Lucretia, I also extend to you. Now, I know that when you need something, you will be firm in that conviction. I hope you will ask for it.
Let's first rebuild France and then we'll talk.
I admire, as always, your faith.
And with that, I think the ominous incurment of bringing Robespierre and his lieutenants to tomorrow night's Camarilla Elysium and many other things on the agenda to achieve a purpose that seems to run counter to said action in many ways, maybe for in many others. We will pause this night and resume our story next week in the continuation of the Chronicle. Wow. I'm Beck. I have been your storyteller for tonight's session. An incredible time. Thank you everybody so much for coming. And before we leave, I'll get all of our lovely players to introduce themselves once again. Let us know where you are on social media, what you're doing, and where we can find you.
My name is Adam. I've been playing Remy St. John, your dream-guzzling Malkavian. And you can find the Shakespeare-inspired D&D campaign I run called Bardic Inspiration at the handle listed below on both Twitter and TikTok.
Yeah. I'm Jack. I've been playing Madame de Comtesse Le Visage, the Nephilim Toreador who brought lots of Nephilim energy to this whole session. I am at Dr. Radiance on things, and
Hi, I'm Syrinx, and I've been playing Maëlle Gadieu, the beast-inducing gangrel of this group. And you can find me as Syrinx on Twitter and Instagram as such.
Lovely. Well, again, thank you everybody so much for coming. What a crazy session. We will be back next week for more, as I said. So thank you everybody so much and take care.